Alright, topic 5.4, arc length and area of sectors. An arc length is a piece of the circumference. So if you look here, the formula for circumference is 2 pi r. So all you have to do is multiply by, now this x right here stands for the degree of the central angle, or sometimes they'll give you the degree of the arc, but that's what the part that you're going to put in for that one. And then since the total degrees is 360, you'll multiply by that fraction. Let's try the first example. To figure out this right here means find the arc length. That means they want the arc length from here to here. So you're going to use the 120, your central angle, over 360, and you're going to multiply it times 2 pi r, which the radius in this case is 6. So you're going to multiply 120 over 360 times 2 times 6. If you want to do this in the calculator, just leave the pi out. So if you multiply, I think I'll show it to you. Let's do it. You don't really have to use parentheses for your fraction. You can just type in 120 over 360 and then times 2 times 6. We're going to leave in terms of pi. So this entire answer right here would be 4 pi, because you're leaving pi as a symbol, and the units are not given, so we'll just put 4 pi units, and that means that is the length of arc EF. Look at example 2. Find the length of arc LM. On this one, since they've given us 300 as the arc, the major arc, that would mean that this minor arc is 60. So this time we're going to use 60 out of 360 times the circumference, 2 times pi times 3. And when you multiply this in the calculator, it comes out to be 1. So the answer is going to be 1 pi, or just pi. And we'll write pi units. It's just a length, so it's just a unit. Alright, the only difference in the formula for a sector is that this time you're still going to multiply times 360, or the degree of the central angle over 360, but instead of a piece of the circumference, you're getting a slice of the circle bounded by 2 radii and an arc. That just means you're figuring out the actual shaded region. And this one didn't shade correctly. Let's fix that. If yours is not colored in, just finish coloring it, because it does mean that this shaded area is called a sector, and it's 120. So we're going to use 120 over 360 times, and this time, since it's area, we're going to use the area formula for a circle. 6 is our radius, so you're going to multiply 120 over 360 times pi times 6 squared. This one, when you multiply it, becomes 12 pi. And since we don't know the units, we'll just say units squared. And this is a square unit because it's area. On this one, they want the actual arc length and the sector, so we'll do both formulas. On this one, the central angle is 20 out of 360. Let's do the arc length first. So you're going to multiply by 2 pi r, so 2 pi times 3. This is going to give us our arc length. To get our sector, you're still going to use the same formula. You're going to use 20 out of 360. But this time you're going to multiply by the area of a circle, pi times 3 squared. And I'll go ahead and tell you that the answer to this one, when you multiply this all out, comes out to be 1/3. I think I'll do that in the calculator to show you. It'll probably be a repeating 3, so let me teach you something. If you do 20 divided by 360 times 2 times 3, see how you get a repeating 3? Push math, enter, and it'll show you the fraction form of that. Let's try this one. 20 divided by 360 times 3 squared is 0.5. You may already know, but that's 1/2. So this one's going to be 1/2 pi. You could write it as pi over 2, but this is an area, so it's units squared. And this one is just a length, so it's just units. So the arc length is 1/3 pi. And the area is 1/2 pi. And it is square units. Okay, example 5. Find the length of the arc AB and the area of the sector. On this one, again, it looks like they did not shade it correctly. So let's finish the shading on this one. Just take your pencil and shade in this little sector right here. I guess the printer didn't shade it correctly, but go ahead and do that. Shade all of it. So they're wanting the arc length and the sector. So if we do the arc length formula, just remember that the only difference is the circumference is used when you're doing arc length. You're using the circumference formula, 2 pi r, but you're multiplying it by your degree of your central angle over 360. So this one, now this one they did give us the minor arc, the major arc is 210. So if you took 360 and subtracted 210, that gives you 150. So that means the central angle and the arc degree for AB is 150. So that's what you want to use as your fraction. So times 2 times pi times 5. Multiplying this out. This one also gives you a fraction, and let's leave them in fraction form. The answer to this one is 25/6 pi. When you do the sector, you're going to do 150 over 360 times the area formula for a circle, so it's pi times 5 squared. This one does come out also as a fraction. It's 125/12 pi. I think I better show you that. Let's do that one on the calculator. I'll show it to you. See if I can get it in the light. When you put in 150 divided by 360 times 25 squared, see how you get this really long decimal? Just push math enter. Oh, it didn't reduce it. Wait a minute. Oops, I did 25 squared. Let me start over. 150 divided by 360 times 5 squared. And then pushing math enter, see how it gives you the fraction 125/12. And that's your area. So the 25/6 pi units for your arc length and 125/12 pi square units for your area. Alright, example 6. Okay, this one's a little different. This one's giving you the arc length and they want you to tell what the actual angle is. We're still going to use the arc length formula of, let me write that on here. The arc length is the degree of the angle, and that's the one we don't know, out of 360 times 2 pi r. So since we don't know the x, I'm going to leave that an x. So times 2 times pi times 16. Now this is the actual answer to the arc length, and we know that answer is 8 pi. So that is our arc length. So here's your formula, and on this one we'll be able to get rid of the pi. Let me show you how to do that. You're going to take 2 times 16 and divide by 360. Let's see what that is. Let's see, 2 times 16 is 32, divided by 360, math enter is 4/45 pi. Okay, what you're going to have to do on this one is Let me think for a minute. We're going to multiply. Yeah, let's multiply the 45 on both sides. Oops, sorry. So the 45's cancel out here and you get 4 pi. Now the pi's we could divide out too, so let's go ahead and, if we divided out the pi on both sides, those would also be gone. So you get, oh, I left off my x. This is going to have an x with it. So this would be 4x is equal to 45 times 8 is 360. And 360 divided by 4 is 90. So your x is 90. That means it's a 90-degree angle. You can always check it if you want to put the 90 back in. You could put 90 over 360. Let's do that real quick. I'm going to show you that. If I put 90 divided by 360 times 2 times 16, our answer is 8. So 8 pi. Can you see that? So 8 pi would be the arc length, and that was the one that they gave us. They gave us the arc length. Alright, let's try number 7. This one, they give you the area and the measure of the angle, and they want you to find the radius. So let's write our formula. Now this one, because it's using the word sector, we have to use the sector formula. Let me write that down. It's the degree of the angle over 360 times pi times radius squared, because we're doing area. Anytime it asks for sector, and it even said it's the area of the sector. So this sector area, that's the answer, 432 pi, is equal to, they gave us the angle, so we know we can use 120 over 360 times pi times, and the r is what we're trying to figure out. We don't know that radius. Now again, we can divide out the pi's if you want to. Now one way to do this in the calculator, let me show you something. 120 divided by 360, if you reduce that, this really is 1/3. So I'm going to write it as 1/3. 1/3 pi r squared. Actually, let's get rid of the pi's. I'll just say we're going to divide those out. So if you have 1/3 times r squared, and that equals 432, to move the 1/3 to this side, you're going to multiply both sides by 3. And 432 times 3 is 1,296. And to get the radius, all we need to do is square root that. If you take the square root of 1,296, the radius is 36. So that we use the formula for sector to find the radius. Okay, that's it.